Hello, everybody. You have tuning in to Awaken the Inner Alchemist. 33 principles to transform pain into power and live with purpose. In this podcast, we're going to be going into principle number 6. Purpose gives you direction. And my name is Fred Martinez, and I'm the author of the book, Awaken the Inner Alchemist. And you are with my co-host.
And that's me. I'm happy to be here as your co-host and dive into principle number 6 together. So we're talking all about how having a clear purpose can really give you direction in life. And I think this is going to be a fantastic conversation. So let's jump right in and explore how purpose can be that compass that guides you forward.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let people listen to this. The one thing I look about purpose doesn't just strike out of the blue. It's like a bolt of lightning. It's not a sudden, dramatic epiphany. It emerges in the quiet, honest moments through actions, alignment, and energy. And when I think about purpose, it's almost like a radio station. You know, you're tuning in because the old radio stations used to have like a little dial knob, and then you would have to turn it, and then you would hear all the static, and then eventually you get to a radio station. The thing about purpose is it's basically that we have purpose. We're born with purpose. We might not know what it is because we have these gifts that are given to us by God, the Creator, whatever you want to believe in, that you have some kind of a purpose in it and a purpose in life. And when you start getting deeper into it, tuning into that purpose, then you have a direction.
Absolutely. I love that analogy of tuning in like an old radio dial. It's such a great way to think about it. Purpose isn't necessarily this giant lightning bolt moment. It's more like something you gradually fine-tune. You listen past the static, you pay attention to those subtle signals, and you start aligning your actions and your energy with what really resonates with you. And as you do that, that sense of direction just gets clearer and clearer. So yeah, let's dive in and explore how finding that purpose really does give you the direction to move forward.
Now the thing that I wrote is find your purpose by looking at your life, not by searching for it. What activities make you lose track of time? What topics or causes stir up strong emotions in you? What patterns keep showing up in your life, even the tough ones? You know, and then also too, your struggles. The struggles that you go through is making you stronger. It also can help create a purpose in your life because you don't want anybody to go through what you went through. So you want to go ahead and help other people to stay away from that, or you want to help other people overcome what you went through. So that's a thing where we are always guides. When you think about it, we're on this earth and we're living this experience, and what we're going through can help guide other individuals because there's always a mess there's always a message in the mess that you're in, and that you learn from it, you grow from it, and you want to teach other people about how to stay clear. So, you know, let's go into what's your perspective, not even your perspective, but if you were like Tony Robbins, and I'm talking, and if you can actually, help people figure out what their purpose, because the purpose gives them direction. You know, what would you tell individuals if you were coaching them on how to find their purpose?
Absolutely. Let's channel a bit of that Tony Robbins energy here. If I were coaching someone on finding their purpose, the first thing I'd say is to start paying really close attention to where their natural energy and curiosity lead them. It's exactly like you said. Look at your life, not just at some big external search. What are those activities where you completely lose track of time? What are the challenges you face that have shaped you? Those struggles are often a big clue because they give you a unique insight and a unique message to share with others. And just like Tony might say, your purpose often emerges from those patterns in your life that keep calling out to you. It's about connecting the dots between what excites you, what challenges you've overcome, and how you can use those experiences to help others. So I'd encourage people to listen to their own story and trust that purpose isn't something you have to invent from scratch. It's something you uncover by looking at where life is already guiding you.
You know, it also goes into your purpose. Also pushes into the why, because your why is that is just super sauce. That's the fuel behind your purpose, because of what is it Marcus Aurelius would say, or I can't even, actually, it's not Marcus Aurelius. I even forgot who ended up talking about the quote. I think it's Friedrich Nietzsche talking about you can overcome, once you know your why, you can overcome any how.
Exactly. That's a classic Nietzsche idea, and it fits perfectly here. Once you're clear on your why, on that deep reason behind your purpose, then the how just becomes a series of steps. Your why is the fuel that keeps you going even when things get tough or when the path isn't totally clear yet. So absolutely, purpose and why go hand in hand. Once you tune into that purpose and uncover that why, you've got this really strong inner compass. And with that, you can navigate whatever comes your way because you know exactly what's driving you forward.
Now, I noticed that some people get stuck in the how, because the how is like, how do I do this? How do I do that? Because I constantly hear it from people. Now, sticking with the Tony Robbins and coaching people, how do you coach somebody to get them into like figuring out their purpose, and then the other aspect is like knowing their why, but how do you go ahead and actually get them out of the how?
Absolutely, and that's such a common hurdle. People get really tangled up in the how because it feels safer to have every step mapped out. But if we're channeling that Tony Robbins approach, the key is to help them shift focus back to the why and the purpose. Because once that's really clear, the how starts to feel less intimidating. You realize you don't need all the steps perfectly lined up before you begin. Instead, you just need to take that first aligned action. So in coaching someone, I'd encourage them to trust that once they know their why and they have a sense of direction, they can start with just one step. Take one small action that aligns with that purpose and see what opens up next. It's about building momentum. Each step forward helps reveal the next one, and before they know it, they're moving through the how naturally, because the purpose and the why are leading the way.
Okay. It's now I can see, but yet I also feel like people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Because now you were talking about purpose, and now we're talking about why, we're talking about how. Now we are encompassing all those three things rather than, okay, the main purpose, like, what is my main purpose? What is my purpose here on earth? What is my purpose in what I'm doing? Or what's my purpose of going to the gym? What's my purpose on living a healthy lifestyle? What's my purpose of this podcast? These are questions that a person always asks themselves, like, what's the purpose? You hear that. So how do you go ahead and get a person out of that, like, that questioning phase of purpose and actually having them find their purpose?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's totally natural for people to start spinning around all those layers of what's my purpose in different areas of life. The trick is to simplify it a bit and help them realize that purpose doesn't have to be this huge, overwhelming mystery. It's often just about starting with what feels meaningful to you right now. So instead of trying to solve the entire puzzle at once, it's about encouraging them to take one area, like maybe their health or their creative work or even this podcast, and just ask, what feels purposeful to me here? What impact do I want to have? And what genuinely excites me? By breaking it down into smaller pieces, it becomes less about finding some giant, all-encompassing life purpose and more about discovering what gives them a sense of meaning in different areas. Once they do that, they can connect the dots and see that all these little purposes add up to a bigger picture. It's all about starting where they are and letting that purpose unfold naturally.
Okay, you mentioned something that was a key thing, which was the steps on and I think if you have that purpose, not that purpose, but you have that the keys. What would be the steps on that purpose? Because finding your purpose is like, what makes me feel good? You brought that up. That would be, what other steps, like questions like that a person can go ahead and put together to help them find and refine their purpose?
Absolutely. Let's break that down into a few simple steps. So if someone's trying to refine or find their purpose, here are a few guiding questions they can start with. First, like we mentioned, what activities make you feel alive or make you lose track of time? That's a big clue. Second, what are the challenges you've overcome that you feel passionate about helping others with? Often your purpose is tied to something you've learned from your own journey. And third, ask yourself what values really matter to you. What kind of impact do you want to have on the people around you or on the world? That helps narrow down what really feels purposeful. By exploring these questions, you start to see patterns. And from there, you can refine your purpose by testing it out in small ways. Take little steps aligned with those insights and see what resonates. It's a process of experimenting, learning, and adjusting. Over time, those steps help you hone in on a purpose that feels authentic and fulfilling.
Awesome. I think the listeners are really going to be taking that in by asking those questions, because I think that's what's lacking in any kind of self-help, is what are those questions that a person needs to be asking? Because in life, we need to be asking the questions, because if you don't ask the questions, you're not going to be challenging yourself, as well as you're not going to be challenging the status quo. Asking those questions can help hone in onto your purpose, help you hone in what you want out of life.
Absolutely, and that's such a great point. Those questions are really the key that unlocks everything. Because when you start asking yourself the right questions, you're basically inviting yourself to look deeper and to challenge the usual patterns. It's not about having all the answers right away. It's about being willing to explore and to be curious. And that curiosity is what leads you to your purpose. So yeah, I think listeners will definitely find that valuable. And it's all about giving yourself permission to ask and reflect. That's where real growth and clarity come from.
Awesome. I want to conclude our podcast of Awaken the Inner Alchemist, 33 Principles to Transform Pain into Power and Live with Purpose. I'm Fred Martinez, and we were just unpacking the Principle 6, Purpose Gives You Direction. And you can find more about these 33 principles in life in my book, Awaken the Inner Alchemist. You can find it at Amazon. You can find it at Barnes & Noble. You can find it on Target, Walmart. Get the audiobook version of it. And if you want to know more about the Awaken the Inner Alchemist, you can go to awakentheinneralchemist.com. And my name is Fred Martinez, and I want to say thank you for listening to this podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Your time is very valuable. I hope you're getting some insight on how to level up your life and to transform your life.
Absolutely, Fred, and thank you for sharing all of that. It's been a great conversation, and I'm sure everyone listening is walking away with some really valuable insights on finding their purpose. So for everyone out there, definitely check out Fred's book and the resources at awakentheinneralchemist.com. And thanks again for joining us. We appreciate your time, and we hope you're inspired to take those next steps on your journey. Thanks for listening.